President, please be seated. The court is now back in session, and the chamber gives the floor to the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor to put questions to witness Cambodia.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Madame le...
Thank you, Mr. President. Madam Witness, we are talking of the Tramcock District Office. Can you tell me who was the chief of the Tramcock District Office when you were chief of Chingtong Commune, and subsequently when you were deputy chief of Tramcock District?
Stop.
Witness, could you repeat your question, please?
Yes, we were speaking about the district committee, and now we're speaking about the district office, which is a different body, therefore. You said that he was in charge of economic matters. So could you tell me who was in charge of this district office when you were a commune secretary in Cheng Tom, and then when you were the deputy secretary of Tramcock district? So who were the heads of this district office?
Answer. Don was the former head of the district office.
Were there other cadres who were working at the district office? Does the name P and in the name Khom, Khorm, and the name Buk Hun, UL, then HOUN, does that ring a bell? Do they ring a bell?
Score.
Answer, yes, I know them.
What were their duties in the district office?
Answer. They had positions in economics and militia in the districts.
So, therefore, must I understand that the district office was in charge of economic matters as well as of supervising the district militia?
Answer. P and John were supervising the militia, and John was supervising economic matter.
Can you tell us in which office Deutsch was working? That is D-U-C-H, also known as Yip Deutsch, who apparently was in charge of the youth at the district level. Have you met him? And was he also working in the district office?
I met Duke at the district office. He was working in. He was responsible for youth.
Do you know if he played a role also at the Krang Tachang Security Center?
Answer: I do not know about this.
Concernant
Now, with regard to the place where the district committee was located, as well as the district office, which you told us was very nearby, can you tell us where these two offices were located exactly?
Answer: at Ong Roka.
Was it very close to your commune, Ching Tom commune, therefore, or more specifically, between Ching Tom and Trapieng Tom Chung?
Yes, they were in between Chiang Tong and Trapiang Thom Cheng communes.
bien, je voudrais
Fine. Now I would like to speak about the meetings that took place at the district committee to which you participated as a commune chief. You said at answer 159 of your written record of interview that there were ordinary district meetings 3 times a month, and on the 10th, the 20th, and the 30th of each month. And you also called these meetings education meetings. So which topics were discussed by the district chief or by his deputies during these ordinary meetings at the district level at Angroka?
Answer: I do not recall them all, but I remember that there was education concerning economic matter to solve the livelihood for people. The meetings were held on the 10th, 20th. And as for the rest topic, I do not recall them all.
Were there also, or was the situation of the enemies in each commune also discussed on the agenda, as well as disciplining the locals? In particular, discipline towards the 17 April people, the new people. Was that on the agenda to be discussed?
Answer: yes. There was such a discussion, but I do not recall them all.
And during these district meetings, were there reports produced each time, reports that you would draft as a commune chief, as well as instructions that were given by the district chief?
Answer: yes.
You explained at answer 157 of your written record of interview that during these educational meetings, they told the village to report to the commune, and the commune had to report to the district. At answer 158, you said in those meetings, they said that if any event that occurred in the village had to promptly report to the commune, and the commune had to report to the district urgently too. So was this a pyramid system that was set up? That is to say that the village had to report, or the cooperative rather, had to report to the commune committee, and then the commune had to report to the district.
Answer: yes.
vous avez
You worked at the district yourself. at least in 1978, and you said that you attended many meetings in Sector 13. Can you tell us what the district would report, or the district chief would report to Sector 13 during the meetings, or what would they report in writing? What kind of report did the district provide to Sector 13?
Answer. There was no written report. The report was about economic matter, political matter, and military situation. But as I said, I do not remember them all. I remembered only the main headings.
Now, with regard to the people who participated in the ordinary district meetings, aside from the commune chiefs and the district committee, as well as the members of the district, were there also cadres from the Krang Tachang Security Center who would attend these meetings?
Answer. Sometimes they would attend the meeting, sometimes not.
You said that you met Ta'an, the head of Krang Tachang. Did this happen at a district meeting or at a sector meeting?
Answer. I met him at the district meeting.
And during these district meetings, would Ta'an report to the district committee?
Yes, he made the report, but I do not recall the points made in the reports.
You said that you read the report, but I was asking you if Ta'an would report orally during the meetings covering security issues at the Krang Tachang Center.
Answer. Yes, perhaps he made oral report in the meeting, but I do not recall the content of the oral reports.
Did you ever hear him speak about networks, of spy networks during these meetings?
Answer. Yes, I heard of it.
Did Ta'an provide figures with regard to the number of prisoners who were at Krang Tachang and with regard to the number of people who had been purged each month?
Answer. I do not know about this.
And did you meet a certain Meng during these district meetings, that is MENG, who was the head of a detention center that was located to the west of Angkor Market?
Answer. I do not know this individual.
J'en viens maintenant
Now I'd like to turn to the meetings that you qualified as urgent or necessary to District 105. That is to say, meetings that took place at other moments when the situation required it. Can you tell us when such urgent meetings took place, or such extraordinary meetings at District 105, and what were the topics that were discussed?
Answer: I do not recall it.
You said at answer 160 of your written record of interview that there were certain kinds of urgent meetings that took place, and in particular you said that when there was an abundance of rice in my commune, the commune that did not have enough rice immediately called for me to share this rice. And furthermore, at answer 161, you also said that a certain number of security meetings were considered as urgent and necessary meetings. Can you tell me if they were security situations that warranted the organization of urgent meetings? And if so is the case, can you provide us with examples?
Answer: there were urgent meetings when Vietnamese troops were almost reaching the districts.
Est-ce que
In April 1975, before the evacuees from Takeo and Phnom Penh arrived in Tram Kak district, were there urgent meetings that were held in the district?
Answer: yes.
And was the aim of these urgent meetings to prepare cadres for the arrival of the evacuees from Phnom Penh and from Takeo?
Answer: yes.
qui préside
Who chaired this or these meetings regarding the Phnom Penh evacuees? Was it the district chief, or was it the sector chief, or was it Tamok?
Answer: I did not recall at that time. It was not Tamok. This person was from sector or district levels.
que vous a
What were you told in relation to the evacuees from Phnom Penh and from Takeo at that time? What was decided to do with what was decided in their regard once they would arrive in Tram Kok?
Answer: I was told to arrange the place for evacuees to settle in, and I was told to prepare the foods for them.
And before they arrived in your commune, were the evacuees from Phnom Penh channeled and gathered in one specific place? In fact, you said in your written record of interview at answer 101, and I will read it out in English.
Je cite,
I quote in English.
Remember, first they concentrated them in one place. Then they divided them out to villages to live mingled together. End of quote.
You spoke about a place where they were first of all gathered. Where was this place? Where were these evacuees from Phnom Penh gathered?
Answer. They were gathered in a place near Champa Pakuta.
And did you go to Wat Champa yourself at that time to see what was going on?
Answer. No, I did not go there.
And you also attended the preparatory meetings. And during these preparatory meetings, were instructions given so that it would be possible to identify the officers, the high-ranking officers and the officials, the London officials among the Phnom Penh evacuees once they had arrived in Champa.
Answer. I do not know about this because I was not there in the meeting.
And once they arrived in your commune, I'm speaking about the Phnom Penh evacuees, was it necessary to take their biographies and to watch over them because they were coming from the city?
Answer. Yes, the biographies were taken.
As he said earlier on, or reminded us, with regard to forced marriages, were the 17 April people considered enemies back then? Because apparently the city had corrupted their spirits.
Answer. I did not consider these people enemy. I called them as what I told by the upper echelon.
Bien.
Fine. I'm going to read out an excerpt of your written record of interview that I say E319/12.3.2. This is at question and answer 254 and 255. And I'll read it in English.
Question 254. When the commune chiefs began to collect biographies from the people and found someone who had been involved in the Lon Nol regime, what happened to those who were associated with the Lon Nol regime? Your answer, 254. Quote, immediately when the Khmer Rouge regime began, they commenced making biographies of people who used to be teachers, policemen, or civil servants in the Lon Nol regime. Then they sent all of those biographies to the upper echelon. That was an order from the upper echelon. Question 255. To your knowledge, what happened to those who had been involved in the Lon Nol regime? Answer: after the biographies were sent to the upper echelon, they provided the names of those people to me. Then I ordered the arrests of those people and sent them to the upper echelon. Some were able to return, and some could not. Those arrested ones were mostly soldiers and policemen. Not many teachers were sent there. End of quote. Alors,
So the biographies of teachers and of policemen and of servicemen or of Lon Nol officials, which you spoke about in the excerpt I just read out, well, were these biographies gathered by members or cadres of your commune once they had left Wat Champale and once they had arrived in Chingtong?
Answer: I do not get your question. Could you repeat it?
Yes, let me try to formulate this in a different way. Once they had arrived in Chingtong Commune, which you were the head of, who would draw up the biographies of these Phnom Penh evacuees? Who would draw them up?
Answer: actually, people were sent in, and we put people in villages.
bien, mais vous avez pas.
Fine, but you spoke about biographies that were gathered. So there, who within Chingtong Commune was in charge of questioning the people and of gathering their biographical information? Were these secretaries from the commune office? Were these greffiers? Were these security cadres? Were these militiamen who knew how to read and write? Can you tell us who would actually do this?
Answer: as I told the chamber, the villages sent the biographies to the communes, and the biographies were made or collected by the village chiefs, and after that they were forwarded to the commune, and commune sent them all to the upper echelon.
Savez-vous qui, au niveau du district, était...
Do you know who in the district was in charge of analyzing the biographies of evacuees, that is, the biographies you forwarded to them? Was it in the district committee or the district office that such analytical work had to be done?
I did not know about the works regarding this aspect at the district level.
Vous avez dit qu'ensuite on...
You stated that lists of people who had to be arrested were subsequently sent to you. That is, the list of evacuees from Phnom Penh and Takeo. Were you able to find out in one way or the other where exactly or in which detention facility those persons were sent?
I did not know about it.
J'en viens maintenant à une autre...
Let us now talk about another period. We'll talk about evacuees shortly after 1975. It was said that police officers or soldiers or civil servants who are sought after. I'll talk about a later period, later than May 1977. During that period, in addition to biographies that were collected, as commune chief, were you instructed to draw up lists of family members of all soldiers and former officials of the Long Nol regime?
Est-ce que vous avez entendu la question, Madame le ténor?
Madam Witness, did you hear my questions?
President, there is a technical issue on the witness's side, and it is being resolved now. President, again, good morning, Madame Cambodia. Witness, yes, good morning, Mr. President. President, it seems that the link has been re-established, and the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you may resume your line of questioning.
Merci. Je ne sais pas, Madame.
Thank you. Madam Witness, I do not know whether you heard my question, but I was talking about another period during the regime. Not immediately after the evacuation of Phnom Penh, but rather in April and May 1977. And I asked you whether, in addition to drawing up biographies, you received instructions from the district or the sector to draw up lists of family members of all the former Lon Nol soldiers or civil servants.
I cannot recall that.
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez?
Do you recall whether at any point in time instructions were issued by the upper echelon regarding arrests of former Lon Nol soldiers and officials around 1977-1978.
I did not know about that.
Bien, je vais essayer de vous rafraîchir.
I will try to refresh your memory by presenting a number of documents to you. These are documents you should have before you, and each time I request the President of the Chamber to have these documents placed on the screen. The first document is document E3/2048. There are several pages of interest to us, but the first page is a reference in Khmer 00079-089. May I ask the lawyer representing the witness to look to the top left-hand side? In French, the reference is 0061-1659, and in English, 0027-6562 up to 63. This is a report that was sent by Byrne but some translations on record mention Mern. That report was sent by Byrne or Mern to Chengtong Commune on the 30th of April 1977 to the Angkar in Tramkak district. Madam Witness, if you have the document before you, can you tell us whether that is indeed your name and signature at the bottom of that report?
I do not fully understand your question.
Oui, je vous demande de prendre.
I am asking you, you take the document E3/2048. The Khmer page is 00079-089.
President, the Duty Council, please try to locate the relevant pages for the witness to review. Duty Council, Mr. President, actually I do not have that document with me. President, it's E3/2048 at EN 0079-089, says the President.
Il s'agit de la troisième page en Khmer.
And it is on the third page on that Khmer document.
Est-ce que vous avez ce document?
Do you have the document before you? You should have it because the list of documents was sent well in advance.
I cannot read it, says the witness.
Madame le témoin, je ne vous demande pas directement de le lire, je vous demande simplement.
Madam Witness, I'm not asking you to read it, but to look at the bottom of the document and tell me whether the name on it is indeed yours, and also look at the signature and tell us whether it is yours as well.
President, Duty Council and witness, please hold on. And Council Copper, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. I just heard from my team that the text is now being written to the witness by her lawyer. Is that correct? Is that what we heard? If so, I think that should be reflected in the record.
President, the Duty Council started reading through the witness, but it was interrupted as it was not the intention of the Deputy Co-Prosecutor. So the matter had been rectified.
Je repose la question, Madame le témoin. Est-ce que vous reconnaissez votre nom et votre signature?
Let me ask the question again, Madam Witness. Do you recognize your name and signature at the bottom of that document?
The document, that's the writing there is not that clear to me.
D'accord, mais
Very well. I'm not talking of the entire text. I'm looking at the bottom of the document, the name and the signature at the bottom of the document. We'll talk about the handwriting later on.
Witness, please repeat your question. The name is my name, but there is no signature of mine on the document. I did not sign it.
vous avez dit à la réponse 2.
You said in answer 228 in your record of interview that your handwriting was bad and that someone wrote for you.
Était-il habituel que quelqu'un...
Was it customary that someone else would write the reports or minutes that you sent to the district, of course under your supervision?
President, witness, please hold on, and Counsel Kong Sam-on, you have the floor. Counsel, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like, Mr. President, to direct the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor as to the exact text or quote from the document he puts to the witness. Thank you.
Je peux le lire, mais...
I can read it out, but I think we are wasting a lot of time, Mr. President. It is E319/12.3.2, answer 228. This is what the witness says in English.
To write for me. End of quote.
Yeah, but Mr. President, I object to this way of citing because the answer refers to reports regarding arrivals and departures of people in my commune. So that's a completely different sort of reporting to which she, in this particular answer, is referring to. So now to match that little sentence with this particular report is not accurate, and therefore I object.
Monsieur le Président, je pose une question.
Mr. President, I am putting a general question to the witness since she said that she didn't attend school for long. She made a statement to the effect that someone wrote for her and that someone usually wrote for her. And this document E319, or rather document E3/2048. I'll return to that document, but my question is whether someone wrote reports for her, reports dictated by her, of course, and whether the signature is hers as well.
President, the objection by the defense counsel is overruled. And witness, please respond to the last question put to you by the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
Donc je la répète.
Let me repeat the question. You did say that sometimes someone wrote for you. Tell us who wrote for you. And also tell us whether that person wrote what you dictated.
Yes, that is correct.
Et qui était? C'était.
And who was that person? Was that a secretary, a clerk, or someone else working in the commune office?
Yes.
Est-ce que par ailleurs vous êtes.
By the way, do you agree, since you have confirmed that the name on the document is indeed yours, were there other persons called Byrne? Was there another person called Byrne working in the Chingtong commune office?
No.
Bon, je vais vous lire des extraits de.
I will read out to you extracts of the document. You have the Khmer translation. You don't have to read the entire document. And then I'll put some questions to you to find out whether the topics broached on those documents would refresh your memory as regards the contents of the documents. Now I quote what Burns stated regarding the situation of the enemy in my base after receiving successive recommendations from Ankara regarding vigilance vis-à-vis the enemy and the cleaning up of enemy soldiers who were ranked officers. They monitored, examined, and identified the following persons. End of quote. Free translation.
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez
Do you recall receiving successive recommendations from the upper echelon regarding the enemy and the cleaning up of enemy soldiers, in particular high-ranking soldiers or officers?
Yes.
Vous souvenez-vous qui?
Do you recall who exactly gave you those recommendations or instructions? Was it the district, the sector, or another level of authority?
I received it from the district.
Que voulaient dire les mots vigilant?
What do you mean by vigilance vis-à-vis the enemy?
The vigilance of the enemy is that we had to pay attention of the situation and not to allow the enemy to come and harm the people.
Est-ce que la hiérarchie
Was the upper echelon afraid that the enemy would somehow contaminate people who were good elements?
Yes.
concernant le nettoyage
Regarding the term cleaning up of soldiers among the enemy who were officers, can you tell us what that meant exactly in the parlance during that era?
Please make your question more precise.
Je parlais du terme
I was referring to the term used in this report, wherein successive recommendations sent by ANCA had to do with the cleaning up of soldiers, that is, Lon-Nol soldiers. What does the term cleaning up mean? Does it mean arrests or elimination?
I did not have any rights to eliminate or smash. When there were reports from the village to the commune would forward such a report to the district.
est-ce que sur décision du
Upon the decisions of the district, did you have to arrest any persons to be cleaned up and transfer them to the district level?
I did not involved in any arrest.
Je vais revenir sur ce point.
I'll return to that point later. Let me continue reading out the document to you. In this document, it is stated that the following persons were monitored, examined, and identified. The first person was Chit Pin, a lieutenant from Phnom Penh. As for the second person mentioned, that person is Kir Soka. And this is what Byrne writes regarding that person, regarding his profession at the time of the recent deportation. When I interrogated him, he answered by saying that he sold rice. However, after having conducted investigations and examined him, it turned out that he worked at the Ministry of Development, or rather the Ministry of Community Development, end of quote, free translation. In April 1977, which is the date of this document, was a commune asked to interrogate the enemies and find out what their prior occupations had been. And why were those questions asked at the level of the commune? Why was the interrogation done at the level of the commune?
President Venus Cambodia, please hold on, and Council Copper, you have the floor. Madam Cambodia, allow me to remind you again, please hold on.
Just an observation for the record, Mr. President. I note that the prosecution is reading a part from a passage in this document which seems to be the product of a interrogation. Again, I have no objection that the prosecution is doing it. However, we should at one point in time be allowed to do the same thing in respect of products of interrogation at S21.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President, very briefly, here we are talking of questions that were asked. There's absolutely no question of torture. I know what my learned friend is referring to. We have no mention is made here of any use of torture. Madam Witness, can you answer the question? In April 1977, did the district ask the commune to interrogate potential enemies and specifically to find out what their previous occupations and ranks had been?
Yes, there were some questionings in the past.
Dernière chose que je vais citer à propos de...
The last thing I will quote regarding Kyo Soka, that is the second person mentioned in this report, is as follows. His father was among the authorities from Takeo. When people were liberated up to the monastery of Champa, our uncle sacked his father. End of quote, free translation. A while ago you said you didn't know what happened in Champa, but here you are saying that when he was liberated up to Champa monastery, our uncle dismissed his father. What do you mean by that?
I don't believe that I made that statement, and I do not know that individual that you mentioned.
Do you know if at Wat Champale cadres, Lunol cadres and Lunol officers were arrested?
No, I did not know about that.
Il est mentionné
At the end of this document, the following is mentioned, or in any case, Bund mentions this, that both of these people had been sent to the police. Back then, when people would say sending people to the police, what did this mean? Where were they sent to exactly at the district level?
At that time, during the regime, I did not know where the police were, and Krang Tachan only existed later.
Je voudrais maintenant...
Now, I would like to continue with the same document, E319/2048. So this is on another page, on Khmer page 0079092 to 93. So these two pages ending in 92 and 93. English 00276565. French 00611662. This is a report that was sent by Chon from Popel Commune, dated 8 May 1977. Witness, do you have this document before you?
Cha miền.
Yes, I do.
Bien, est-ce que vous pouvez...
Can you look at the end of this document and tell me if the John of Popel Commune who is mentioned, who signed this message, therefore, is your husband?
Cha.
I cannot read it.
ឃើញអត្ថលេខាប្រពូផងភាសា
Je sais que vous avez...
I know that you have problems with your vision. However, can you look at the handwriting and can you look at the signature on this document? Is this your husband's signature?
Madame la témoin, pouvez...
Miss Witness, can you answer this question, please? The Chon, who is mentioned here, is he your husband?
Cha.
Yes.
Bien, alors...
Fine, fine. In this report, your husband says at the beginning that he is taking the liberty of sending to the district Ankar 4 traitors. I'm not going to read everything out, but among these 4 traitors, there are 2 former London soldiers, 1 high-ranking official, and 1 law student. And it is said of him that he is very much at odds with the regime, and that he led young people to organize a secret meeting. So what did deep antagonism, as it said, mean back then?
There were various kinds of conflicts, one of which was an offense that is a verbal offense that makes the people fear.
And back then, when former servicemen and officials of London were tracked down, were also students being tracked down as they were considered as contesting the regime.
At the time, from my recollection in my commune, there were only a handful of people who were former ranking officers of the previous regime. President, thank you, the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor. It is now appropriate for a lunch break. We take a break now and resumed at 1:30. And Madame Cambodia, thank you for your time, and also the Chamber would like to thank the Duty Council. We take a lunch break now, and we will resume at 1:30 this afternoon. Security personnel started to take Kyosum Pond to the waiting room downstairs and have him return to the courtroom this afternoon before 1:30. The court is now in recess.
trênក្រងឈើ
នេះ